Minasan konnichiwa. As some of you might know, I live in Japan, and as more of you might know, they speak Japanese in Japan. So if you're gonna live in Japan, it's a good thing to learn Japanese. Now, I learned Japanese the old-fashioned way, you know, quitting my job in America, moving away from all my family and friends, and enrolling in a $1,000 Japanese course over 2 years. But even with a 2-year course, my Japanese right now, it's okay, it's passable, I can understand most things, and I can have basic conversations, but it's really been a goal of mine to get better at Japanese. And what better way to do that than Duolingo, the pinnacle of language learning. Now, I've heard a lot of mixed things about Japanese Duolingo. I've heard, oh, it's really good. I've heard, oh, it's terrible. So today I thought I'd test that because Duolingo would be an easy thing for me to do day to day to, like, you know, improve my Japanese skills. So I'm gonna look at it from like a beginner's perspective too, give my opinion on if it's like, you know, the right thing for a beginner to jump into. So with that being said, let's Duolingo. Okay, so opening the app, see what's new. I never knew what was old.
Welcome to a new look on Duolingo. We redesigned the home screen to better guide you through lessons.
Welcome.
Follow a path crafted by our learning experts to help you better reach your goals and learn with confidence.
0 out of 10
Our
already.
popular short stories are now built into the path, rather than
Is
a
this
separate
unskippable ad for Duolingo? It's like an unskippable ad. Like, for the app I'm already using. Like, I'm already using the app. I don't need the ad. Just let me get to the app. Oh, we've already started. Okay. Gohan kudasai. Gohan kudasai. This is a great starting point. Means rice, please. I'm doing good. I know. I know already Gohan means rice. Also the character from DBZ. Fun fact, all the DBZ characters are named after, like, food. So, Gohan kudasai. I'm so good. So easy.
Sushi kudasai.
Sushi kudasai. Sushi, please.
Mizu kudasai.
Oh, she's like an emo, like a goth lady. I like the variety we got here.
Mizu kudasai.
Water, please.
Kudasai.
Oh, genius. 5 in a row. Perfection. Wow. First lesson done. I am a genius. Well, what I noticed is just like Duolingo just throws you in there. It doesn't really teach you anything. It's not like, hey, the word for rice is gohan. You know, it's just like, figure it out. Take a guess. That being said, it's a smart thing to do. First off, to just teach people how to order in a restaurant, because that is like the #1 thing if you're going to visit a country that you should know. Like, if you're not going to learn anything else, like, don't worry about basic grammar. Learn how to, like, order a beer. Biru, hitotsu kudasai. There you go, that's how you order a beer. I was also wondering how Duolingo would handle Japanese's 3 alphabets, because one of the extra things about learning Japanese that make it difficult is that there's 3 alphabets that you pretty much just have to learn, like, right off the bat to be able to read anything. They are hiragana, katakana, and kanji are the 3 alphabets. Hiragana is the one you'll learn first. It's this 46 characters. Each character corresponds to a sound in English, and it never changes. So once you know how to read it, it's always going to be the same. Then you have katakana, which is the exact same sounds. Here it is, except all different characters, and you just have to memorize these characters too. And you use katakana mostly for foreign words. So for example, the word for computer in Japanese is just computa, but you write it in katakana. So any kind of like English or foreign word will be done in katakana. Now you might be wondering, why do they need an entire new alphabet with 46 brand new characters just for foreign words? The 3rd alphabet is kanji, and this is the traditional alphabet. It's just like the Chinese characters, and this is easily the nightmare. Like, even though you have to memorize the other 2, once you memorize them, it's pretty easy. You got it. This alphabet has over 2,000 characters, and each character not only has 1 reading, but it can have between 2 to like 5 different readings potentially. And you just kind of have to know what the reading is based off context. It's a nightmare. This is like easily one of the most difficult things about learning Japanese. My strategy is to ignore it for the most part. Yeah, my kanji's terrible. I know it's like some of the basic ones you see all the time, but even Japanese people struggle with kanji. I remember in my school, my Japanese school, one time, we had to give a presentation, and our audience was actually Japanese members, and they wrote us like sweet little messages in Japanese afterwards. And I remember one of the students was like writing the thank you message in Japanese. And they had to turn to their other Japanese friend and be like, oh man, I forgot the kanji for this word. What was the kanji again? And they're like, oh, I don't know either. And they like Googled it, looked up the kanji, like, oh, okay, yeah. And continued to write the kanji. And I'm like, oh my God, if you can't even do it, what hope do we all have? Okay, so they are teaching us the words here. So we have green tea, which is ocha, rice, which is gohan, sushi, and water, mizu. Okay, or omizu if you want to say it more formally. So ocha, green tea. Wow. Let's make it a bit harder. Yes, please. Water, rice. Translate this sentence. Sentence is a strong word. I don't know if I'd call this a sentence. But, where is it? Mizu, gohan. Yay. Rice, please. Gohan kudasai. So
Gohan kudasai.
Or I'm sorry, I should say it like her. Gohan kudasai. Yay! Dicta! I did it! Hooray!
Get more with Super Duolingo. Go ad-free and skip the interruptions to focus on your learning. Unlock unlimited hearts and make as many mistakes as you need. And you can target weaknesses in your practice hub.
I don't make
AI-powered practice
mistakes.
sets
Everyone
based on your
knows
recent
this.
mistakes.
You will never make a
So
mistake
what
if
are
you
you
learn a
waiting
language
for?
properly.
Upgrade your
Everyone
learning
knows.
with
Making
Super
mistakes for the
Duolingo.
weak. No thanks. Hell yeah, 1 day straight. Woo! What are all these like gems and streaks and rewards and equipment? What is this, like an RPG or something? No, I don't want to open another chest. I just want to do Japanese. Maybe later. Oh my God. Okay, let's see if we can advance a little more. If we can, oh wait, what is this? Hiragana. Oh, okay. So like I was saying before, it looks like they do have a section just for Japanese, which is like learn the characters. So I would definitely recommend doing this as soon as possible. Like a lot of books will hold your hand and be like, oh, it's okay. I'll just give you like the little English, like, spelling of the word. But learn hiragana as soon as you can. Definitely. Just sit down, make some flashcards, memorize it. Let's test my hiragana abilities, shall we? Learn the characters. Hi, okay, start lesson. I know all this. Oh, I have to. Here we go. She. Okay, this is good. I think this is good to like learn the characters and stuff. I mean, there's only like, what, 46 of them? It's not that bad. Isha. I like this goth girl. This goth girl is my favorite. Dr. Isha.
優しいです
Oh, we have our first like adjective. Yasashi is nice. You use that one a lot. Yasashi desu. You'd say that if someone does something kind for you. You can say, oh, yasashi, yasashi. Oh, yasashi. So that directly translated just means nice. But if I'm saying it to someone, I would assume in English you'd probably say, oh, you're so nice, or he's nice, or she's nice. Japanese, you don't need the he, she, your. You drop it and it's just from context. You hopefully get it. So I think this one's saying he's nice. Bam. Teacher, sensei. Sensei.
医者です
Oh, I like these ones where you just have listening. Isha desu.
医者です
優しい先生
Oh, yasashi sensei. Nice teacher. There's no desu there, so I'm guessing they just want this. Oh, a nice... This. It's over. If you make one mistake, it's over. I'm gonna have to pay money to reset. Oh no. A nice teacher. They're not telling you if they want a full sentence or if they just want it directly. Like we said before, there's no a, an, or the in Japanese. So I reject this incorrect answer and stand by that my answer is just as correct. He's nice. So now we want yasashi desu. I mean, if we're being really direct, we could say like kare wa yasashi. this. Like, he is nice, kare being he, but this thing's very temperamental, so there we go. I'm still salty. I can't believe it. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to eat a jelly bean out of anger and retribution. Oh, matching. Green tea. Ocha. Doctor.
先生
I was going too fast. I know that, doctor. Because that's what I was saying before. You can refer to doctors like sensei too. This is so embarrassing. Here's the word for embarrassing. It's hazukashi. Be like, hazukashi, yo. Don't look how embarrassing. Doctor, isha, teacher, sensei, rice,
ご
gohan.
飯優しい優しい医者優しい医者
This is. Let's correct
優しい先
the
生
mistakes. Oh my gosh, they're calling me out. Previous mistakes. Oh god. This is so embarrassing. A, nice doctor. They need the A in there apparently. It's vital. Wait, no. A, nice, mix, A, nice doctor. A, nice, ah! I'm going too fast now. I'm getting confused. This is so embarrassing.
優しい先生
Yasashi sensei, a nice teacher. Duolingo's terrible. Don't use it. Lesson complete. I don't feel good. I don't feel accomplished. I feel like I failed.
Introducing the Duolingo
I'm gonna
Family
give you
Plan.
an ad.
Encourage all.
I'm very distraught. I'm gonna eat some jelly beans to make me feel better. Because even though I don't like most snacks, I like jelly beans. Well, thoughts on the first lesson? I think that was the first like set of lessons. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know, it's kind of like your style because I think Duolingo is the style where they don't explain everything to you exactly. You kind of just like intuit it and pick up on the rules as you go. But I know I was kind of the person where I liked having the textbook. The textbook I used, I thought it was really good. It's right here. This is the one I used. Japanese from Zero, and it really does a good job of explaining why things are the way they are, which I think, you know, we're not children who are able to pick up a language just by, you know, watching a TV show or something. Like, how much anime have we all watched? And let's be honest, you can't say much more than like tasukete and stuff. That's just the truth. So I like having the grammar and the basic rules like explain, like this is why we're doing this, and just I noticed a couple inconsistencies there with like, okay, so when do we use the article? When do we don't? Sensei can also kind of mean doctor. Not really explaining the pronoun thing. I think that's like an important one because they had me translated as if the pronoun was in the English, but it wasn't in the Japanese. So I think I might have been a little confused because, oh, what's he then? Where's the he? Like in the sentence, they didn't really explain that you don't need the he. And that's why they didn't have like kare, the word for he, like as an option. They didn't really explain that. I wonder if they will later. But yeah, I think overall it was pretty good, especially like learning the hiragana. I think that was very helpful. I'm just gonna eat jelly beans out of rage right now. Especially a lot of the grammar points get more difficult the more you go up in Japanese. Like some of the rules are pretty complex for some of like the grammar points, and I don't know how well Duolingo would be able to teach that. So I'm curious to see like in the higher levels of Japanese how good it is. But for a beginner, just for coming to Japan, I think that's pretty good. The vocab, I think, is smart. I like the vocab that they choose to teach. You know, gohan, kudasai, those are all really useful, good phrases right away. So even though everyone knows Japanese is like a really difficult language to learn, one of the easier things about it is the pronunciation is actually not that bad. It's a lot easier for an English speaker to speak Japanese well than a Japanese speaker to speak English. And that's because most of the sounds that we have in English, they have in Japanese. There's only a couple Japanese sounds that we don't really have in English, and those are rare, ru, re, ro. They're very common, so they don't have an R or an L sound in Japanese. Instead, the sound they have is very much like right in the middle. It's why Japanese people have a hard time telling the difference between an R and an L, because their sound for it is like in the middle of those two. That's why when you say like ramen in English, it's more like ramen. It's not really an R, it's the Japanese ra. But once you can do those sounds, pretty much every other single sound in Japanese you can do. And that's why learning hiragana is really good, and I recommend it right away because those are all the sounds in Japanese. So once you can read all the hiragana and say it properly, you're good. You can say pretty much anything in Japanese, and then it's just practice. Okay. Next lesson, bengoshi, which is lawyer. Do you know how many times I've used lawyer when speaking like Japanese? It's 0. Kind of a weird choice that you have like, oh yeah, the essential Japanese words everyone needs to know right away. Water, please, and lawyer. Like, I feel like there's a lot of other words we could learn first before we need lawyer here, but
弁護士
lawyer.
弁護士
Bengoshi. So like, you really need to remember lawyer. Let's drill this in. The most important word. Make sure you know how to say lawyer before you come to Japan. A lawyer and a doctor. So, bengoshi to...
先生
Oh, not sensei. Not sensei. Isha. Des. I am learning. Okay, so this is interesting now. Now she just said ni, which can mean a lot of things. It's a particle, but it also means two. So I'm wondering if they're going to teach us numbers now, because this whole unit is basically how to order and describing people is what it said. Ni does mean two in Japanese, how to count to 3, ichi, ni, san.
1
Ichi, so they are teaching us, so they are teaching us how to count now. 1.
寿司お茶
Sushi. Here's 2. This is 1. Now do sushi and ocha again.
寿司
So I guess that's a common thing to learn in languages, right? Like you learn how to count to 10. Like one of the only things I remember from my high school French class is how to count to 10 in French, which is useful in most languages except for Japanese, because Japanese has this really, really annoying system called like counters. That's at least how I say it, where even though that you can learn how to count to 10 pretty each Nissan, you know, it's pretty simple, but depending on what you're counting, the words change completely. So for example, when you're ordering, if you wanted to order, usually when you order in Japanese too, you would say like what you want, how many you want, and then like kudasai. So for example, you could say like kurage hitotsu kudasai. Hitotsu is 1 there, but if you notice, hitotsu and ichi are completely different numbers. That's because when the thing you count changes, the word you use to count it also change. And there are counters for everything. There's a different counting system for things that are round, things that are flat. There's a different counting system for electronics. There's a different counting system for small animals. And it is just a nightmare because it is not enough to learn how to count to 10 once. You have to learn how to count to 10 in a bunch of different ways depending on what you're counting. And sometimes it gets confusing. You're like, oh God, what like counting method do I use to like count this? I don't know. What is it for like a pillow? I'm guessing mostly. The easiest counting one is the one I just said, hitotsu, and that's kind of like it's a very generic counting method. So when you order food, most of the time, that's the one you're going to use. So don't just learn like ichi, ni, san, which is 1, 2, 3. A little better would be hitotsu, futatsu, mitsu, which is 1, 2, 3 in this general counting method. So if you order something in a restaurant, that's the counting method you'd usually want. So if you want 2 beers, you would probably you wouldn't say biru ni kudasai. Biru being the word for beer, you'd say biru futatsu kudasai. Yeah, I know, it's kind of confusing. There's a different counting system for people too. So when you go into a restaurant, the first question you'll usually get asked is how many people are in your party? And unfortunately, you can't, if there's 2 people in your party, you can't just say ni. I mean, you probably could, they probably understand you because you're a foreigner, but it's pretty wrong. You have to instead say futari, which is 2 in the people counting system. So it's basically not even worth it to learn how to count to 10 in Japanese, I feel, because there's like a million ways to count to 10 in Japanese. My tip for the restaurant, if you don't want to learn that system, is just hold up fingers. Don't bother learning the counting system. They'll probably say something at you. Just assume they're asking how many people. It's usually the first question anyone will ask you. Hold up fingers. This is good. Japanese people do this too, by the way. So you're not even being like a lame foreign like tourist. It's you're more like you're cool. You know the system. You're like, yeah, I can't be bothered to speak. Even though I know how, obviously. I'm just like, even before they ask the question, sometimes I'll be like, hitori desu. I'm alone, of course, at this restaurant. Yes. So yeah, I'm curious to see if they're gonna try to teach me like the counting system thing, or if they're just gonna teach me to count to 10 and they're like, yep, you're good. I wonder if they're gonna see, that's the kind of thing where it's like, I'd want it explained to me. I'm not gonna magically realize that Japanese has these like multiple counting systems and like what they're for. It's just not gonna happen.
3
Sun is 3. Of course, like I said, there's a million different ways to say 3, but if you're ordering in a restaurant, it's mitsu. So if you want 3 of something, mitsu.
寿司ください
Sushi, please. I love they keep teaching me how to say sushi kudasai, sushi, please. But that's not super practical because, you know, even in America, you can't just walk into a sushi restaurant and be like, sushi, please. They'll be like, huh? And which type of sushi did you want? Be like, crap, Duolingo didn't teach me the different types of sushi. What do I do now? Point. Pointing always works. Yes. You can say, kore kudasai. Kore just means this. So if you just want to learn that one word, kore kudasai, and point, kore kudasai. And if you want to be really fancy, kore hitotsu kudasai. This, one of them, please. Sushi, please.
Sushi kudasai.
Maybe I should try that. Next time I go into a sushi place, just sushi kudasai. And if they ask any follow-up questions, I just keep saying that line. I feel like eventually they just bring you out something random. Oh, apparently this is the hard exercise. Green tea water. I feel like this is the same though. How is this hard? This is the exact same thing. Sushi, green tea, sushi, ocha. Wow. Yay. I don't like though, apparently if I mess up too many times, I'd have to pay for more hearts or wait till I get more.
Get more with Super Duolingo.
They keep trying to make me
Reach
get
your
this
language
Super
goals
Duolingo.
fast with premium features that optimize your learning. With no limits to the mistakes you can make and no ads.
It's like you're gonna mess up
Super
a lot.
learners
I
are
can tell. You
4.2
need
times
this,
more
don't
likely
you?
to finish their course. Upgrade your learning with Super Duolingo.
Super Duolingo. It's like paying for super likes on Tinder or something. I earned a heart. Yay. No thanks. Let's continue. Oh.
弁護士
Bengoshi.
弁護
Once
士
again, you remember lawyer, right? Very important. You remember how to say lawyer?
弁護士
Bengoshi. Okay, here's the tricky one. A lawyer and a doctor. A lawyer, so bengoshi
Bengoshi.
and a doctor. To.
優しい
No, that's
優しい医者
isha. There we go.
弁護士です
See, bengoshi desu. So if someone said like bengoshi desu, I'd probably assume they're saying I'm a lawyer, right? Like if you just walk up, you're like, oh, bengoshi desu, or you're talking about someone else. So just a lawyer. Yeah, see, I'm not a huge fan of this. I think it's kind of a thing in Japanese where it's pretty difficult to explain because technically bengoshi desu could mean a lot of different things. It could mean he's a lawyer, she's a lawyer, I'm a lawyer, you're a lawyer, we're all lawyers, Minasan is a lawyer. And instead they just want a lawyer. I don't know if it's the most accurate translation, I guess, in this context. I don't really think they're explaining the nuance of this very well because if I didn't know, I would just see des here and I might assume that des means a and that des means, you know, either a, and, or the. That's really, it's not true. That's not like what des means. So I think this is the kind of thing where Duolingo might fall a bit short and not really explaining these grammar points, these very kind of basic fundamental grammar points well. I don't know, maybe if you keep doing it a lot, you kind of just naturally pick up the meaning. I don't know. Have any of you guys done Duolingo? Like, did you think it was good at like explaining the grammar points? Like, did you get everything like really well? I'm curious to know.
かっこいい先生
Ah, this is a good word. Kakkoi means cool. You hear this all the time. Japanese is a language, so yeah, cool, a cool teacher. So you hear this all the time in Japanese, kakkoi. And the nice thing about Japanese is I feel like you only need to learn like a couple words. Like if you know a couple like keywords and phrases, you can already understand and do like 70% of the Japanese conversation. Like kawaii, kakkoi, oh, so da ne. You know, you just learn a couple key phrases, and in Japanese there's a couple key phrases in the words that just get repeated all the time. I cannot leave my house without hearing like, oh, kakkoi, kawaii, oh, so da ne, like 700 times a day. So if you can get a couple key phrases, you can definitely make yourself seem like a lot better than you probably actually are. Kakkoi is definitely one of those words. It's a good one to know. It just means cool. It can kind of mean handsome too a little bit. Pairing, lawyer, bengoshi,
Sushi.
sushi,
Yasashi.
nice,
医者
doctor,
先生
hi.
かっこいいです
Kakkoi desu. So here's the des thing again. So it kind of means like it's cool, but once again it could be she's cool, he's cool. I'm cool, even. Could be that. So she's cool, I guess I want me to say. So I guess, okay, so here they're kind of teaching. So here I use the pronoun she. She is cool. So before it was like he is cool. So maybe you'd kind of understand and intuit it after a while. So.
か
Golly. A nice lawyer. There ain't no such thing.
優しい弁護士
She's a lawyer. So here's a good example. Okay, so they're explaining it, I guess, or they're showing you, I guess. So, she's a lawyer, so there's bengoshi desu. She, by the way, the pronoun is kanojo. But be careful with that because kanojo it is also the word for girlfriend. So the word for she and the word for girlfriend is the exact same in Japanese, which is kanojo. So based off the context, when you say, oh, kanojo desu, you can even say, this is her. You can even say, oh, this is my girlfriend. So the context and the nuance there kind of matters a lot. So I'm going to end it there. I feel like I learned a lot about Duolingo, not about Japanese. I knew all the Japanese already. It was pretty fun. I probably would have enjoyed it more if it was a little more like I was actually learning new stuff, but it's pretty fun. The system is pretty good. It makes you feel good like you're actually learning. Is it the best method? I don't know. Probably depends a lot on the person. But I had a good time, and I think just for daily use, it's pretty good. Have you guys tried Japanese Duolingo? How did you find it? Do you think it was like a good tool to learn? Do you feel like it was helpful? I'd be curious to do it again, but advancing the Japanese a lot. Like maybe, I think they have a test in there where you can test your own level and you can start from your level. So maybe I'll do that in another video. I think the best method is just talking to people. Luckily I have some Japanese friends, so honestly, if you can do that, that's probably the best method to learn, but I get that that's easier said than done. But in the meantime, I'll keep practicing my Japanese, and I'll see you guys later. じゃあね。